Of all the Legionnaires, Magna Stral was the most renowned for her feats of strength. But it wasn't always so.
The founder of the Dominion's not my favorite person right now. You know that, right?
Just listen. She came to the Legion of Dawn as a young girl. Her village was raided and everyone taken. Almost. She was so small she hid inside a basket. The Urgoth surely caught her scent, but they thought her too weak to bother taking.
I didn't think Urgoth ever left humans behind during their raids.
Stories say they sometimes left the weak, sickly, and elderly, alone, unarmed. She followed the secret Arcanist signs to Sanctuary, where the rebels hid and plotted. There, Stral begged Tarsis to let her join the Legion, to grant her vengeance. But the general refused. She said Magna wasn't ready, and sent her away. Stral couldn't accept that. So she went out alone to fight the Urgoth.
Without a javelin? That's insane.
She set traps, ambushes. She poisoned spears and knives. Any small advantage she could take against a vastly superior enemy, she gladly took. She nearly died dozens of times, but vengeance drove her onward. And the Urgoth fell. She carried trophies to the Sanctuary, day after day, week after week.
Poison and stealth do not sound all that mighty.
Remember that for General Tarsis, the trial of might involved luring enemies into a trap? Might isn't just simple feats of strength. It's achieving your goal with whatever means available. Finally, General Tarsis spoke with her. "What do you want?" she asked. "I want to join the Legion of Dawn," Magna replied. Tarsis looked at her and asked, "Why? You already have your revenge." The general looked to the many, many Urgoth trophies Stral fought for. At first, Stral had no answer. Then, after a long moment, she said, "It's where I belong." To which Tarsis answered, "Then you're finally ready to join us."
So what happened? How did Stral end up leaving the Legion and founding the Dominion?
That's a story for another time. So, now that you've walked in her footsteps, let me tell you the final tale of Magna Stral. When General Tarsis fell, those closest to her went into mourning. Each carried grief in their own way. For Magna, the loss of her friend and leader turned to rage. She couldn't rest while a single Urgoth lived. They were already broken by the sword of Fulminus, terrified, fleeing to the dark corners of the world. But hard on their heels, Stral came, hunting them one by one.
This sounds like the other story you told me.
Listen to enough tales of Magna Stral and a pattern emerges. When at last her scouts found no more enemies, she returned to the Fortress of Dawn. There she found the doors sealed. The Legionnaires were preparing to leave it forever.
So, who did she kill this time?
Right then? Nobody. While Stral eased her grief with battle, Arden Vasa fixated on his duty. With her final breath, Tarsis had made him swear Anthem would not fall, no matter the cost. At her command, Vasa prepared to take the entire Legion of Dawn to safeguard Anthem for all time. Outraged at what she saw as desertion, Stral ordered the Lancers to halt, and they obeyed. Her general secured a future for all people, not just Anthem. She called for the Legion to follow her, to battle the enemy in the darkness where they'd fled.
So, which one had the right idea?
Well, if you ask a Sentinel, Arden Vasa. Ask a Paladin, it's Stral. A freelancer usually says neither. Stral was admired, some might say revered, by many, and they gladly joined her cause. Vasa called them traitors. Stral declared those who stayed behind were cowards, and the Legion broke. Those who followed Magna Stral called themselves Paladins and went north to pursue the enemies of man. They vanished into the darkness and were never heard from again.
Wish they had disappeared forever, but we aren't that lucky.
For a long time, we believed all the Paladins died in the far north. When we learned they'd survived the cataclysm that froze Stralheim, centuries had passed. And they were different from what they once were. Whatever happened to the Paladins can't be allowed to overcome the Freelancers or the Sentinels.
We can't defend against something we can't even identify.
Be on your guard, Lancer. Walk the paths.